The U.S. housing market to be bailed out, but it's not what you might think. Hey everybody, Scott Walters. Buckle up, strap in. I got a hard-hitting pull, no punches, no sugarcoating it, no rainbows, no sunshine. It's going to give it to you straight. We got a good one to unpackage today. Buckle up, strap in, hold on to your hats and glasses as we blow the lid off the U.S. economy and the U.S. housing market. Why, you ask? Because they're tied together. Lose one and you will lose the other, my friends. Everything hinges on the U.S. housing market. And listen, friends, the writing is kind of starting to be on the wall. We just did a bank of bailouts. We had bank failures and then bailed them out the same day. This is insane. In the 2008 crisis, the banking system failed. And then we stepped in and started doing market manipulation, which created a massive bubble that we're in today. But the realities are this, friends. What I'm seeing now, and I want to know your thoughts on this. And if you're new, please subscribe. Subscribe right away. Never been a more important time in history to get centered and surrounded with like-minded people. Iron will sharpen iron, friends. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee, my friends. We have some massive issues. And what I'm seeing now play out, and I've reported on a lot of this. That's like I said, if you're new, go watch previous videos if you'd like to understand how we got here. I'm going to unpackage what I believe is a very likely scenario that we're going to see. So if we're already bailing out banks, and listen, this is trouble. This is trouble. I mean, gosh darn it, I think we don't have time to unpackage what exactly this means in terms of the banking of bailout. But what it's saying really is the government is going to do their best to bail out these markets. Well, what's the biggest asset class in the world? The U.S. housing market. We are due. We're going to see bailouts occur. In the 2008 bubble, we had bailouts. You know what they were called? Loan mods. The loan modification program. You can call your bank with a hardship and they'll modify your loan and get you into a new manageable payment. That's only if you still had a job that you could actually make a payment with. If you didn't have the ability even to make a lesser payment and prove it, you weren't getting a loan mod. So it didn't work. The housing market is still crashed. And what are we seeing right now? Job layoffs like a wildfire. Our good friends over at Meta just announced another 10,000 jobs. Poof! Gone. And guess what those 10,000 people did? Well, they're white collar wage earners, right? It's not service sector jobs, the blue collar wage earner who rents homes that we're seeing right now holding up our job numbers. No, we're seeing the evaporation of the job market, and eventually we're going to get those numbers that we were anticipating. Unemployment rates are going to spike. They're hanging on by a thread right now by the blue collar service sector wage earning jobs. But we're seeing the white collar wage earners get decimated. And who's getting bailed out in the current bailouts that we're seeing now? The rich. The rich people are always going to get the bailouts, and who suffers? Lower and middle class are going to bite the bullet on this one. Not a good sign. So if we're forward thinking, critical thinking, which we are, what we're going to see next is the housing market is going to collapse on itself, and it's going to need a bailout. And so maybe loan mods will come back into play. Who knows? But what I think we're going to most likely see, right now the writing is on the wall. We've talked about this. Who's the at-risk group? Well, the people that bought during the crisis, the 10 million people that piled in because interest rates are at a historical low, but they overpaid when above appraised values to get those homes. Now they're extremely vulnerable as the savings rate's at an all-time low. Debt. U.S. debt at an all-time high. We know we're running on fumes. We're seeing the government step in and bail. How are we going to bail out this housing market? Well, I believe what we quite possibly could see is a bailout for the housing market. And I've already reported on my sales meetings where we're being recommended to check back with FOMO buyers, bubble buyers that bought to see how they're doing, because they are now looking for somebody to blame. Their real estate agent, he made me do it. He told me if I didn't get in now, I would be priced out and rates were historic. They FOMO'd me in. I got in line around the block to see an open house, and I saw all the other people there, and I was told that I was going to have to write an offer well over asking to even get them to look at it. And it was like a complete gamble to even see how far above you had to go. You had to guess. They didn't tell you the exact number. Well, this is the exact number you have to pay. No, you got to guess. Like, how much money can you get a hold of? Can you access any credit lines or cash or borrow from mom and dad? That is what we saw. So how's the government going to step in and bail out the housing market when it goes? It's going. It's going, my friends. I hate to don't kill the messenger. I'm just letting you know, booms and busts. We've always had them. So that alone should get people's attention. But it didn't. This time was different. Last bubble was due to loose lending, the subprime mortgage. Okay, whatever. This time was bigger bubble, bigger blowback. Hello, wake up, smell the coffee, my friend. How's the government going to bail out this one? I'm waiting. Put it in the comments below. What's the bailout that we're going to receive? It's coming. We're in a bailout here. If you're in trouble, we bail out people out. Unfortunately, inflation will never come back down. We're going to probably have a bigger issue, an inflation war that's now being fought with the wrong solution. We're not getting out of the problem in the solution. We're staying in the problem if we do bailouts. Right? Am I right? Of course I am. Doesn't take a rock science. Even me, I can figure this one out. But my job's to help you. Because you see, millionaires will be made, but it won't be in the height of a super bubble, buying outside the bubble for pennies on the dollar. But the government will throw some bailouts. And I think I remember hearing something early on somewhere about somebody communicating this could in fact be the case. We've all heard the narratives of the Great Reset and you'll own nothing, but you'll be happy. Well, those theories are starting to look more potentially like you can't rule them out. Like you can't rule anything out right now. But I really want to prepare people for what's going to come next. Is I believe housing market is headed for some form, if not multiple forms, of bailout attempts. And that's what I said, attempts, because I don't think it'll work. Why? Because in 2008, we did bailout attempts with loan modification. The market still crashed, the biggest downturn on record up until the one that's knocking on the door currently. And don't even get me started about the investors, the builders that are out there sitting on unfinished homes, empty homes, sucking air, showing the kiss of death, days on market and price. Don't get me started on that. Whew, insane, this stuff. Government quite possibly could step in and say, hey, but Mr. and Mrs. Bubble Buyer, we're so sorry that you're having a hard time with your housing. We have an offer right now. It's a bailout program. And if you sign this paperwork, you don't have to leave the home. I know you're getting default notices and notices to vacate and pre-foreclosure. Here's a way you can avoid all that. Sign here. The government now owns your house. That is what I'm seeing as a potential scenario, because this is why, friends. This is why. I believe there's no loan modification program. I believe there's no loan forbearance program. I don't believe there's any stimulus program that can stop this one. The only thing that the government would be capable of doing, because we've already thrown everything but the kitchen sink, and then at this point now the kitchen sink has been thrown at it in terms of banks bailed out immediately, not even given the chance to fail. And we're bailing out the rich. But I believe what we could see is the only thing that would work to bail out the housing market in this one, the government would have to take ownership of these homes and people. Here's what I've talked about before, as somebody who's trained in the psychology of sales and the psychology of people, knowing when you put that much pressure to buy a home, like I saw in the height of this buying frenzy, the last thing you want to do is lose the home. Honey, sign the paperwork. We get to stay in the home. These are real life scenarios. This is a very different housing bubble. It's going to have a very different byproduct and blowback that I believe that we have to be ready for anything. Expect the unexpected in this one. Like I've always said, it's better to be prepared for something and have it not happen than have it happen and not be prepared. In final thoughts, I come to you as a friend, as a content creator. Somebody wants to see you not only win in real estate, win in life. Understanding the waters we're swimming in now, bailouts are now starting to occur, but they're not going to help our situation. They're in fact going to only hurt it. We need these markets to reset. And if it's going to have some fallout that goes along with it, that's what's needed. We've always had them. Booms and busts. Painful lessons for many people. It will be so very painful. But as somebody who's walked in those shoes before, I can promise you, you won't necessarily regret it if you learn the lesson within it. Like I've always said, I don't regret what I went through in 2008. I don't wish to close the door on it. I learned very valuable lessons that I believe are helping me today. But if I was to go back in this bubble and do the same thing as I did in the last bubble, expecting a different result, well, that would be the definition of insanity. My job is to help people make sane decisions moving forward as I blow the lid off it every step of the way, because it's not only what we need, it's in fact what we deserve. If you appreciate the content, I want to humbly ask you to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below. I would love to hear from you. Social media links in the description of this video if you'd like to contact us there, along with links to channels I've appeared on I think you might enjoy. If you need help buying or selling real estate here in America, I have the biggest network of top-rated agents in the nation ready to assist you. It'd be our honor and our privilege to do so. Email in the description for you as well, or you can simply reach out to ScottWaltersRealestate at Gmail if that's easier for you. A lot of buying opportunity showing itself right now. We have to examine each area specifically to see if in fact it's there or not as we buy outside the bubble. If you appreciated this video, I know you're going to love the next video on your screen, and there's an easy subscribe icon for your convenience. As always, thank you for your time. Please go make it count today, and I'll see you on the next video.